Here we have a Magnavox Integrated Stereo System from 1986. It still works, but needs repairs. This is what's next. All right, a little backstory to this particular stereo system. This is my wife's. I should say was my wife's. We've given it to a family friend who is really getting into vinyl, loves CDs. I'm not sure about the tape part yet. But anyways, my wife had this towards the end of high school, into college, and we've had it ever since. You know, it was time to let somebody else appreciate it, and I think we have somebody that's interested. However, there are a couple functions that just aren't working like we were hoping that it would. So I'm going to attempt some repairs today. But what we have here is a Magnavox Integrated Stereo System. We have CD player, dual cassette, graphic equalizer with 3 bands, a volume control, your functions, your radio, and a belt-driven turntable. So let's look at the back and let's see what the manufacturer date is and the model number. So we can see that this is a Magnavox model number MX1820BK01. It does have a manufacturer's date of November of 1986. Let's look at the back panel real quick. Here we have a FM antenna at 300 ohms, a TV and auxiliary in, which is kind of cool. And then you have your speaker out, 8 ohm is minimum, and you have your power cable. Starting at the lower left, we have our CD player, which actually has this retractable door here. Works fine. Might need a little dusting. We'll probably work on that. And it is programmable. This will not play burnable CDs, nor will it play MP3s. It's just an older unit and doesn't recognize it. Here we have our dual cassette player. We do know that this one is not working. This one kind of works, but sounds like crap. So I'm assuming that it's both a belt issue. We do have the high-speed dubbing. There is no Dolby. And then there's 2 microphone inputs, and then there is your headphone jack. Looking at the center section, we have the 3-band graphic equalizer. The left and right are connected. The volume sliders are separate, so you can adjust it. That's for balancing as well. You have a power level indicator that actually is connected to the volume control, so the louder you make this, the more you'll see on the VU meter there. And then you have your selector switch for phono, tape, CD, FM audio, AM, and then that TV auxiliary port in the back. Up here you have a lighted dial for your FM, AM radio, and then a tuner here, and this is all analog, not digital. And at the top we have our full-size platter, record player. For the most part, this always played fine. Once again, if I go and select the phono, it doesn't work. You can hear the motor running. So again, another belt issue. So some of the parts that I got, these are from LP Gear. So I don't know if you could see that right there. So I have a turntable belt. Now this says that it's the MX1820. So I'm hoping that that works. That'll be the first thing that we're going to repair. The second thing that I have, and I don't know if this was the right piece, this is the tape belt, but this says it's for the MX8140. So we'll find out if this is the right one. They didn't have one for the 1820. Last but not least is a replacement stylus. In addition to that, we have some twist ties that I bought, so we can repair the twist ties that are on the back of the speaker. And last but not least, if I need any other belts, I have the Bag O belts. Let's get started with the turntable. And I want to go ahead and take the lid off, which this should be a fairly easy lift. So just like that, this should just come right out. And it may snap a little bit here, but that's okay. There we go. So we have that out. We have the 45 adapter, which if you just press, comes right out like that. I'm just going to set that off to the side. So now next is going to be to get this clip off so I can pull the turntable platter up. I'm going to put in some tape to block this from flying out as we use a screwdriver to just kind of pop it off. So I have a little bit of painter's tape, and I need to find a blade screwdriver where I can just pry this off. there we go. And there's the clip. That is a tight fit. There we go. Okay. And there's the belt. You can see that there's a gear mechanism. I believe this does have auto return. I completely forgot about that. So that's a bonus for him. All right, so let's take out the other belt. Okay, there's the belt from the old one. Here is the one from LP Gear. If you can see here, the new belt versus the old belt. So now we need to get the new belt on. And again, what we're going to do is we're going to make certain that this is not twisted. And we're going to wrap this around. Try not to get any of the grease from that cog. And we're going to go right here, just like that. So hopefully once we get this connected, I am onto the spindle here of the motor. That should work. I'm just double checking, making sure that it's all, yep, looks good. So let's get it connected back up and see if we can get this working. Again, we just have to get the cog wheel connected here. This should come down. If we go down like that, and then it feels like it's working. I don't know. Yeah, that's something's not right here. So let's lift this back out again. The first thing that I did before putting the belt on, and I've already done a practice on this and it works, is I did put in the super lube on the motor. And this was actually quite loud before, but if we go ahead, I'm going to take my mic off and we'll bring this over. If you listen to the motor now, it's barely audible. So the other thing that I have fashioned here is this little doodad. I don't know if you can see that there. See, there's the paper clip, and then I have it connected right here. And what I'm going to do is we're going to put this underneath here. Let me get the camera at a better angle so you guys can see this. But if I can pull this out as I bring it down and latch it on like so, the belt is on. This is my trusty paper clip. Got the handle and the little loop. I have a feeling I'm going to be using this later on the cassette. So great tool that I fashioned out of a paper clip. All right, next we want to get this piece back on again. So I got to make certain that the clip is in the slot, which is right here. We're going to use some needle nose pliers. Hopefully this should just snap back into place. Just like that. Now we have the new cartridge here, again from LP Gear. Take this out, and you can see that this is a plastic cantilever. And then we're going to put this one on, which should go up and then snap into place. Yep, there it goes. It is now connected. It's our first test. We're going to turn our volume up a little bit. Power is on. Unlatch that. We do have a cueing lever. Bring this over. Let's see what it sounds like. All right, let's try the auto return. There we go. Auto return works. And it shuts off. I'm going to say that's a successful test. One thing repaired, now on to the tape decks. But next we need to get on the inside of this unit. So what I have done so far is I have taken out the screws here, here, there, and last one there. And I have a screw disconnected from here and one on this side here. So this should allow me to take out the record player. So if I move this back and up, you'll notice that the record player comes up. And we do have, at least it looks like, a cable that if we hold this in place, we should be able to pop this out, hopefully. There you go. All right, so the record player is now disconnected. And there's the inside of the unit. We have our tuning here. So you can see the tuner and the wire that goes around. There is the light lead right there. This is the switching for your audio inputs. Down here we have the CD player. And then underneath this whole thing is the tape deck, which is what I need to get to. And I need to figure out a way to disconnect this. And I'm trying to figure out what is better. Yeah, this isn't coming out. Let me see what the next step's going to be. And we're going to see what happens when I take these screws out. We can take off the side panel. Basically, it was this clip here that was still holding down in here. Luckily, they're all labeled, so that's a plus. And here's the pieces that we're looking at. Looks like we have this one here is a little wobbly. I don't think it's supposed to be like that. There's a CD player. We can probably get some of this cleaned out because it's quite dusty. So I'm going to go ahead and do a quick clean out of the unit, and we're going to look at this tape deck. So there is the part number SHW2L, and I got a 516X20B. And I don't know, does the other one have, no, the other one doesn't have a sticker, and unfortunately it is maybe the same number. But anyways, so now what I got to do is I got to figure out what is going on here to see if I can figure out if it's a belt issue or maybe the unit just isn't working right now. So let's see. After doing some more searching, we definitely have a problem with this wheel here. And that side, while it does play, the take-up reel just isn't working. And I've looked at the whole unit, and I believe that in order to do this, I would have to take off everything to gain access to the tape mechanism, which I can see we have at least a screw here and a screw there. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 screws. Yeah, let me see if I can get this taken out. Alright, the cassette mechanism is out. And we know that this one has the bad cogwheel. But these belts look like I can get to it. So I'm just going to go and try to replace those belts, if I can. You can see that the belt here is now on. I've reconnected this belt because there's no way to get to it unless I take that motor apart. So we're going to give this a shot and see if it's fine. I still think that there's something missing here, and it may have been missing for a while at the very top, because that's just held on by friction, and that doesn't seem right. If I find a piece in here, maybe I can glue it, but if this doesn't work, the tape mechanism will not work, and we'll have to use a secondary solution. All right, time to put this back together. Well, unfortunately, this particular motor, now this isn't turning, so either the belt slipped again, but either way, it wasn't working before correctly because this gear wasn't running. This one is still making the same sound, so in general, unless it tore the whole thing apart and did a rebuild, don't think I'm going to be able to get the tape deck working. So let me get everything back together again. All right, we're going to do a test of the CD. Make sure that I didn't screw that up. Make certain that this at least spins up. I'm not going to play anything due to copyright, and it is playing. Turn off the radio, unplug it. Let's go ahead and get this side piece on. Let's do one more look at the record player. So if you want to know what the make of this unit is, it's a BSR turntable, reference number Q500. We have our one cable that's in here, so that gets connected here. All right, that's there. And last but not least, we slide this back into the front. And let's get everything screwed back in. Well, this was going to be a show idea a while ago, but I never got around to it because honestly, I had already done a couple cassette reviews and, you know, some were good, some were bad. This was an okay unit, but what I thought I would do is because these two tape decks are not working, that I would go ahead and donate this. We have it plugged in. We're going to try to play this. This should just open right up. There we go. We're gonna hit play. And we're going to take it back to the studio for my final thoughts on this first attempt of fixing some electronics. After fixing the stereo, I dropped it off to the young man who picked up the unit from our giveaway pile a month ago. He was definitely excited about that record player working again, as he could now play the records he already collected. For me, it was great to know that someone will be able to get some use out of this almost 40-year-old device and it won't end up in a landfill. That's a win. While I couldn't get the integrated cassette mechanism to work, I'm considering this first repair episode a success, and I hope to do more of these in the future for this channel. Well, that's a wrap for today. Thank you for watching, and I really appreciate it. If you found today's topic helpful or informative, and to see what I'm up to next, take a moment to click the thumbs up icon and the subscribe button. If you want to watch a prior episode, click one of the thumbnails either here or here. And until next time, I'll see you again for another episode of Hey, What's Next?